So this season has been one of my favorites so far as the writing is concerned too. The mythologies, the history, the obvious generous elaborations with the history, Betsy Ross's character, and then of course the evolution of both of your characters. The Wendigo episode where you have to be channeled and all that energy and stuff, and then of course the collaboration with Pandora. What can you tell us about this season as far as the evolution of your characters? What has been unexpected, or what has been fun about playing the characters?
We didn't know at the beginning that Joe and Jenny would end up together.
Yeah,
so that was an unexpected sort of treat, really. I think it worked out really well.
Yeah, we don't really know what the arc is going to be at the beginning of the season. We kind of get it script by script, just like the fans. So when I get a script and it ends on, Joe and Jenny are in a fight, I don't know if in the next episode they're going to have broken up or, so it's all very unexpected, which is kind of nice.
It is.
Yeah.
It's nice, and it's also
challenging.
Sometimes, it's challenging.
Yeah.
But in life, you don't know what's around the corner.
It can lend to your spontaneity and how you're acting towards the scenes.
Yeah.
Can do. Yeah.
So there's your dad's back in the picture. You're very hesitant. Can you let us know what's going to happen in the next few episodes? Maybe?
Well, I can definitely say that there's more to that story, and we will explore it. And it's really interesting. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
I feel like he knows more about your mom's history than he's letting on.
He knows more about a lot of stuff, I think. He's a complicated dude, so I'm excited that he's been brought into the fold. And Jenny's having a bit of a hard time with it, but as we saw in the last episode, he kind of touched her heart a little bit, I think, and so maybe she'll be more open to it. But she's kind of a tough nut to crack sometimes, so we'll see. Yeah.
You can attest to that.
Yeah, exactly.
I know you get this all in little bits and pieces, but your character has gone through a lot that we've seen both on screen and that we know has happened in the past. And I'm wondering, when you first started, was there some sense of exactly how much there was going to be for your character? Were you even told that your character was not crazy?
No. Well,
really?
No, not really. I really did not know what was going on when I first got this role. But I'm kind of used to that now. In Nikita, for instance, at the show I worked on before this, nobody gave me any direction with Sonia, and so I kind of just made my own. So I'm kind of used to that, just making the decisions sort of on my own, and as you learn more about your character, you add that to it. In a way, it's kind of an interesting challenge. It can backfire sometimes, but often it can be really interesting and create things that are kind of compelling and unexpected. So no, I didn't know.
Did you have a story you told yourself? That you could share, maybe?
It's kind of one of those things that you're like, it's kind of the own personal backstory that doesn't really make any sense now, and kind of dropped. But
it's your way in at the time.
It's your way in at the time when you're starting from scratch, and it's changed. Pretty quickly, like when I was hired, I didn't know much, but pretty quickly I got a couple scripts and got to see, okay, she does have, this is how she speaks, this is where she is and stuff like that. But literally when I got the audition, it was like Sarah Connor type, and that was kind of it. So you had to build a lot around that. Yeah.
Terminator 2 or Terminator 1?
I mean T2 because of the chin-ups in the very beginning.
Okay, all right. Okay.
That scene, oh my gosh, I had to do like 100 push-ups or something. I remember Ken Woolen kept saying, okay, cut, we gotta do this again. And I was like, Ken, if you can give me 5 chin-ups, I will do this again. Anyway.
Go ahead.
Zach, what do you think is Joe's most important contribution to the gang? What does he bring to the fight?
I mean...
Well, that was one of my other fan questions, was whether we'll see any more shirtless scenes.
Wait and see on that. Well, I think, obviously he brings a military combat background, but I think the more important thing he's brought this season is what he's brought with Jenny and, that storyline. I think if there's one thing Joe inherited from his dad, it's sort of patience and understanding, which I think Corbin clearly had, Sheriff Corbin had, which is why he was able to connect with these girls. And so I think I was always sort of surprised with, like, Joe could be a hot-headed young Marine, which he was when we first met him, but in this season we actually see him being very mature and really patient with, like, figuring out how to navigate the relationship with Jenny and the boundaries and all that. And I realized, like, midway through, I was like, oh, I bet he got that from Dad. Because that's, what Sheriff Corbin was so wonderful with. So I think, in a way, that's his contribution. That's his
And he
best
inherited
contribution.
a love of the Mills sisters.
Love of the Mill Sisters. A different kind of love.
Well, for one of them, like, he's so
Yeah.
respect.
Yeah.
Will we get to see more of Sheriff Corbin's work that he worked on, all the paranormal and supernatural stuff? It's I think one of the characters opened up a secret compartment in the secret
Evans.
compartment.
Yeah.
Will we get to see more of that knowledge that he had? Because obviously you guys are headed into the catacombs.
Well, I think if we get a season 4, I'm sure that'll be more explored. I mean, I think the next 2 episodes are very much focused on dealing with Pandora and the Hidden Ones, and the Corbin sort of files aren't as much a part of that for the next 2, but I think that's definitely, if there's a season 4, would be something to be explored.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Will we see any more cool weapons?
Yeah, of course, always.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah.
Because you had the tar monster in the last episode.
Yes.
More
yeah.
sledgehammers.
I loved
liquid
Lance's
nitrogen.
line. And he conjured fire
In his
in his
hands.
hands. I was like, oh my god, that's the best line ever.
So what has been a fun moment this season for you guys? Like, what is your most memorable episodes or scenes?
I thought a really fun day was in episode 307 when the berserkers came to attack us outside your trailer.
Right.
And she had the knives. And what I actually loved about that was the first time I think that it was the 4 of us together.
yeah.
It was the first time it was me, Tom, Nicole, and Lyndie doing an action sequence. I actually think it was the first time
you
in
might
that
be
whole
right.
season.
Yeah.
And that was really fun because it felt like Team Witness is assembled for the first time. That was one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's a good one. I loved that episode too with the kickboxing scene because we got to practice that. We learned the choreography. They cut a lot of the choreography out because really the scene would have run too long. But just actually training with you for a couple days before was super fun.
And what was cool was John Copeman, who's our stunt coordinator, he said that when they got the initial draft of that script, it was actually just they were boxing, sparring with boxing, and John knew that both Lyndie and I have martial arts backgrounds. So in the production meeting, he said to Joe Webb, who wrote that script, hey, could we make it a mixed martial arts sparring instead of just traditional
I didn't even
boxing?
know that. That's awesome. Go, John.
So so he worked that in, which was totally awesome. Yeah.
Or
And I actually thought that kickboxing scene was one of the best stepping stones for building that relationship. There's nothing like sexy, sweaty sparring to build the sexual tension.
That's true.
So,
And then the stupid shard happened.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
ruined.
Last question, you guys. This is the
Sorry,
last question.
you've done theater and television, and how would you like to balance that back and forth, and what do you like about both mediums?
I absolutely want to do both. I love the sort of the detail and the nuance that you can do on camera because the camera can be right there and just by blinking you can tell something, whereas on stage you have to get all the way to the back row. But what I miss about stage is that in theater, the audience is right there, and you're working with that audience every night. You can hear them laugh, you can hear them gasp. So there's an immediate feeling of sort of a connection between you and the people you're performing with. And I do miss that when I'm working on camera because we're separated from our fans, and we're separated from that audience, and you don't get the energy in the same way in the moment from them.
Not in the moment.
Not
It's
in the moment.
always
You get it
after.
afterwards when it airs. So I want to keep doing both because I love both. And, so.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.